It's starting up now. I'm gonna make sure everything jumps up. Oh, hey. Man, that is cold. I said cold. Okay. We're good. We're online everywhere.
Personally, I made the flyer too big.
Too big, just a little bit. All right. Okay.
What's going on, everybody?
What is up? Good to see everyone again. Very, very happy. I'm going to launch the TikTok Live right now. If you want to start by explaining what you said you were going to explain.
Yeah.
All right. This whole thing.
Honestly, guys,
Get going.
you know, a lot of people come up to us and they, you know, you hear them talk to public figures and whatnot, and they say, "What can we do? What can we do to better our situation?" We're regular people, and a lot of people feel insignificant. They feel like they can't do anything. Well, now we have a chance. Over the next 2 weeks, we have a chance to actually change something, to actually get involved. And we're going to need each and every one of you help to do it. Sean's going to be going and explaining exactly what we're going to do. But for everyone out there who feels like what we're doing might not matter or what's going on, it's too much, this is the time. Shut up!
Zach Wilson there. The judge just picked Zach Wilson, and Kevin's mother thinks he's cute. So just so everyone knows.
Don't worry, we're not filming. This is your chance to get involved. And we're going to need each and every one of you help do it.
That's it. So I'm going to just kind of briefly explain to everybody a little background of what we've been doing. Obviously, we know, and people, unfortunately, they call it, they say it's a, and also, I want to also let everyone know, I can't see the comments, and I'm not really looking at the comments. This is a really, this is a big, just really pay attention and just listen to what this information that I'm about to explain to you, because it's some groundbreaking stuff. So we always hear about it. People call it a talking point, or that's just something conservatives say, right? That there's indoctrination going on in our schools. Well, let me explain something to you about indoctrination. I have a huge stack of paper here, okay? I have more in here. And a lot of this information is stuff that is not necessarily always publicly available, but can be obtained through freedom of information lawsuits and whatnot. And that has been done by an incredible group of people in Smithtown. They've done a lot of hard work, a lot of heavy lifting, and they've gotten access to an unbelievable, you can call it a scandal.
Just a treasure trove of documents.
You can call it a scheme, but it's exposed. And here's how we know that they're scared. So we put our announcement out this morning. Newsletter went out. Everyone was fired up. I really appreciate the energy, and I love the support and the enthusiasm behind everyone hearing that there's a new call to action. So we put the newsletter out this morning. Didn't really mention anything, but it's kind of funny because this afternoon, the Smithtown School Department, School District Administration decided they were going to put a statement out about what we were going to talk about. It's really interesting. They are talking about how they are not implementing anything regarding what we call critical race theory, which we're going to get to. They put out, well, we're not doing that. It's, oh, wait, someone accused you of doing that? That's what we were about to talk about. So bottom line is they're running around doing damage control, and you don't do damage control, much like you don't send 100 lawyers into a state to stop an audit if the election was clean. You don't do damage control if you're not anticipating any damage, okay? And so they're anticipating big things. They know we're behind them, and they put out a statement there to do damage control. So guys, sorry. You might have put that statement out, and you might have thought you were getting ahead of it. You're not. We have a lot, and it's not
one of the biggest school districts on Long Island has been indoctrinating our children with critical race theory, with diversity, inclusion, and equity programs.
So that's where I'm going to start.
And this is Q12.
That's where I'm going to start. So we're gonna take a 30,000. I'm gonna put these down. We're gonna take a. There you go. Thank you, sir. I'm going to take a 30,000 foot view of something. Now, this document can be obtained on New York State Education, nysed.gov, okay? This is a public document, and the gentleman who has put this document together, his name is Lester Young. He is the chancellor of the New York State Board of Regents, okay? Which is essentially, for New York State, it's like the state's version of their Board of Education. This man, and what I'm about to read to you, okay, this man is responsible for curriculum and what is going on and what is being taught in your kid's classroom. You may be saying, oh, well, luckily I don't have kids in this problem, but you're still funding it. Because it's taxpayers.
He controls every single school district.
70% of your property taxes in the town of Smithtown go towards what I'm about to read you, okay? So we talk about critical race theory and how white people are bad. That's, by the way, they're working hand in hand with organizations who believe and push these things, and we'll get to that as well. But this man by the name of Lester Young, Chancellor of the New York State Board of Regents, just a couple of things here. It's a statement that was put out April 12, 2021. I mean, we're talking about a week and a half ago at this point, right? This is not like old news. This is happening now. This is happening now. They want to mandate and push this. Listen to this language that I'm going to read you here. It's because diversity, equity, and inclusion work group to be formed, okay? I've got a couple of things highlighted, but the point of this document and the premise of this document right here is that you're dealing with a person in charge of your curriculum who are telling teachers to tell your children that they live in a systemically racist country and that it's bad to be white, okay? So the Board of Regents today launched an initiative to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in schools across New York State. Chancellor Lester W. Young Jr. announced. All right. The board's initiative comes during a pivotal moment in the nation's history when the country appears ready to address its long history of racism and bigotry. Folks, education. Just know that this is like he's the Board of Regents, Chancellor. This isn't some Joe Schmo on the street that you met that you don't like. Okay? The corrosive impact this has had. The framework. And when they mention the word framework, they're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion framework, which we'll get to the definition of. All right. The framework recognizes there is no single isolated answer that will solve these pervasive problems. There's no answer, folks. There's no answer for systemic racism that doesn't exist. Rather, the approach must be holistic and inclusive, and the Board of Regents, State Education Department, and New York schools will be an integral part of the solution. The schools are going to be an integral part of the solution.
Now, you guys have heard this on Fox. You've heard it on OAN. Down in Virginia, where they're getting rid of AP math classes because of equity, because they want everyone to be equal at the end.
You ready for this?
That's
now?
what this is.
So here's some scary talk. Those of you who read 1984, you're going to probably have an issue with the bowels in a moment. After a year of turmoil and heartbreak, it is natural to wish for a, quote, return to normal. But for far too many New Yorkers, this is, by the way, I'm reading from their thing, but for far too many New Yorkers, the old normal is a place where people are traumatized daily by events, circumstances, and the chronic lack of opportunities.
In Smithtown.
This is New York State.
Oh,
this is all of New York State. If you're listening, you don't live in Smithtown, and you're turning it off, this is happening in all New York State public schools. This guy has that jurisdiction. Public schools in New York State are teaching the curriculum that this person is putting out there. Okay, we continue. All right. Lester Young, that's the guy's name. I recognize that the scope of our diversity, equity, and inclusion framework is daunting. But we cannot allow this opportunity for change to pass us by. If you've read the book, if you've read the work by Saul Alinsky, he's a left-wing organizer. One of his biggest rules is never let a crisis go to waste. How did we start this paragraph off? Heartbreak and turmoil. So he's alluding to COVID, your pandemic that's going on right now. We cannot allow this opportunity for change to pass us by. How could a public health crisis be an opportunity for school change? Do you see what he's trying to do? He's got jurisdiction, not just over Smithtown, over your schools too. If you're in a public school district, this guy is pushing it, okay? That is straight out of Alinsky's rules for radicals. Never let a crisis go to waste. We must seize this moment this is disgusting. We must seize this moment to redefine what is normal and possible for our students. Who is Lester Young to determine whether or not it's our duty to redefine what is normal?
See, we were all sitting around saying, oh, in-person learning, you got to do it over the computer. while these guys were sitting here working on a plan to indoctrinate our children, and we have the evidence to prove it.
Now we think, remember what I tied to you in the pandemic, right? Oh, well, it didn't say pandemic. Okay, cool, let's keep reading. The pandemic has exposed and exacerbated long-standing inequities that exist throughout every facet of our society. Every facet. But the schools are going to fix all of society. You see this, right? How are the schools going to do this? The framework outlines a comprehensive approach to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion. We keep hearing about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Do we hear about excellence in education? Do we hear about getting kids prepared to succeed on the global stage with countries like China and Japan and Hong Kong? Do we hear about that? No. We're hearing about diversity, and which is fine. Diversity is great. Everyone should be able to get a good education. This is not about the New York State Plan for Education is not about education, and that's where we're having a problem. And right here in this document, I'd like to point out that we have grammatical errors up and down this document. The guy who's talking about education, and he can't put a document out right. So Lester Young would have failed high school by writing this. Meanwhile, he's in charge of teaching your kids about these programs. Now, Midtown schools decide they want to say we're not dealing with critical race theory. They put out their statement, little damage control, because they're afraid of what we're going to say. That's fine. We'll address that in a moment. Okay, here's the framework of the diversity, equity, and inclusion framework. So you want to know what diversity, equity, and inclusion framework, what that includes? Here it comes. The dangers in teaching courses of study through only one perspective. Gee, I wonder what perspective that is. The impact of systemic racism on students and society. We might as well study the impact of the tooth fairy on our students, on students in society. We know for a fact, systemic racism does not exist. The importance of looking beyond the data. What about following the data? No, we're going beyond the data. To discover and address the root causes of societal issues. The myriad benefits. This is what it says. It's supposed to say myriad of benefits. They didn't proofread. Education. That accrue from providing students with school environments that are diverse, equitable, and inclusive. You see, they keep using the same three words. Never do we hear excellence in education. Never are we hearing that the quality of education is being prioritized here. You want your education to be special, you want it to be diverse, you want it to be inclusive. I also want it to be quality. What good is the education? You're going to teach everybody a bunch of BS. What good is the diversity? You're just going to poison these kids. The role of the Board of Regents, the department, and local schools and districts in promoting greater diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the suggested elements of a district's diversity, equity, and inclusion policy. Nowhere are we getting the definition of these words. Through this framework, the Board of Regents is expressing its expectation. Now listen to this language. Its expectation. Listen to this language, okay? Because there are people saying, well, nowhere does it say they're trying to mandate this. Just listen to this. Through this framework, the Board of Regents is expressing its expectation that all school districts will develop policies that advance diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that they implement such policies with fidelity and urgency. So, nowhere does it say mandate, but it's their expectation that this is going to be handled urgently. You see what I'm saying? You better do this, or you're going to be in trouble. They're going to, you know what I'm saying? You see that? That is strong arming. That is them trying to impose their will on not just Smithtown, your school districts too, and yours too.
Everyone knows for years we've talked about how teachers teach for the tests. Teachers teach what's on the test, not how to think. No one learns how to think. They learn what to think. But if the people who are making the tests are coming up with these radical ideas, the teachers are going to teach that because they get graded on how well the students do.
And exactly right. Now, we're going to jump into some of the goals of the diversity, equity, and inclusion program at the state level, right? And how that will trickle down to Smithtown, we'll explain. As a part of this work, schools may consider specifically acknowledging the role that racism and bigotry have played and continue to play in the American story. Okay, that's obviously you're talking about, oh, nice. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted it to rain. Okay. Ain't nothing bad happens in the rain except, adopting a cultural, responsible, sustaining framework that embeds the ideas of diversity, equity, and inclusion. They keep using the same words. But listen to, here's an outward and open expression of one of their goals. To empower students as agents of social change. to empower students as agents of social change. You are not sending your kid to school to become an agent of social change.
Your 8-year-old doesn't go to school learning to be a social justice warrior.
That's not
How
what
about
school's
math?
for.
How about reading? How about writing?
It's not what school's for. It's not what it's for. Well, we're getting. We get a radar or something, find out why it's raining.
Hey, you're the weather guy.
Well, I can't because I got TikTok here. Ensuring coherent opportunities for students to actively participate. Listen to this. Ensuring coherent opportunities for students to actively participate in experiences. Now, you're thinking experiences that will get them ready for the real world, to succeed on the global stage, right? No, that's not important. That's not a priority here in New York State. Experiences that prepare them for a lifetime of civic engagement and social justice activism. Folks, not my words. You gotta be kidding. Not my words. My computer's gonna die. It's gonna get destroyed. A lifetime of civic engagement and social justice activism, including, for example, completing what's called capstone projects. These are research projects. They're rigged. I found out about them. But here, you're sending your school, you're sending your kids to schools in New York State. If they're going to public schools that are following this lead. That's a problem. Can we put plastic over the computer, please? It's gonna die. I mean, what are we doing? Every freaking time.
Finish it up.
Oh, I got a ways to go. All right. Now here we're talking about the. I can't believe this.
Just bring it in.
This is ridiculous. I'm staying. Finishing my coffee. Wow. Okay. So the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Initiative, listen to the definition that he tries to define this. This would not pass a high school vocabulary test. You know, you're not supposed to use the words to define the words, right? If I ask you what is an election, you can't answer it's when candidates get elected. The Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Initiative is a multifaceted and comprehensive approach to create an ecosystem of success built upon a foundation of diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're not explaining what this stuff is. Folks, it's raining, so just give me a second. I got to figure this out.
Just bring it inside. Why is he going in without the stuff? No. Sean, I got it all. Light. Fuck.
Wow.
The light went away.
All right, on Instagram, no big deal.
So go back.
All right. I need probably something we should have checked,
Just sit down, finish what you said. They want to know what you're going to do.
but I need my notes. Okay. It just decided it was time for the monsoon. Killed my entire. Look at this.
Sit down, finish your life.
All right.
Sorry about that, everybody.
All right. It was raining rather hard. Cats and dogs. The biggest cats and the biggest dogs the world has ever seen. I just have to say. Okay. So a lot of people are asking, what are we going to do? What's the plan? Look at that. We got a paper. Can we get a paper towel?
Yeah.
All right, cool. What are we going to do? What is the plan, and how does this impact Smithtown?
Sorry, guys.
This Lester Young character that we're dealing with here, who's pushing this diversity, equity, and inclusion stuff, is when you hear the words diversity, equity, and inclusion, it is synonymous with critical race theory. It is synonymous with 1619 Project. You hear that diversity, equity, and inclusion is all about this idea that the country is systemically racist, and what can we do? So here's how this is going to impact Smithtown schools in particular. And the reason why we're choosing Smithtown schools is because the group that we're working with has been doing a lot of work with regards to individually how this is impacting.
They've been on this for over a year. They've done phenomenal work.
They've done unbelievable work.
But they need us.
All right.
They need what they need each and every one of you for the next step in this. Right there.
The other stack of papers. Okay. So, Smithtown Schools, the assistant superintendent of curriculum. Okay, curriculum, obviously, thank you. The curriculum, obviously, what's being taught in the classroom. Her name is Jennifer Bradshaw. Okay. Now, Jennifer Bradshaw is basically Smithtown Schools' version of Lester Young. That's why I read for you how Lester Young feels, right? Lester Young, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Jennifer Bradshaw runs the Smithtown Equity Team. What is the Equity Team? What does the Equity Team do?
People need to understand, in case you don't know, there's a difference between equality and equity. Equality is equality of opportunity. That means everyone starts at the same place.
Correct.
Equity means everyone ends at the same place.
Correct.
So basically, if LeBron James scores 40 points in a game and someone else scores 2, equity would be they scored the same amount. LeBron gives his points to somebody else because he has too many of them.
Right. So here's just this is going to be minutes. How do you know? I just want to make sure you understand we're not making any of this up. These are legitimately the minutes of the meeting from the Smithtown School District's Equity Team. It's from themselves. So when I'm reading from this, I'm not reading from some lunatic or some, who knows where you got your information. This information came from them. This is their work. Okay. So we're reading, this is giving you insight into literally what's probably going on in your school district as well. Okay. So what problems, concerns regarding equity would you like to see our team address? We have hiring practices, racial equity, LGBTQ plus equity. This is not about equality. This is about equity. And it's a totally different thing, as Kevin just explained. Conduct a curriculum review and training to identify and develop ways to incorporate greater empathy, appreciation for diversity, elevation and representation of diverse perspectives, critical thinking and critical consciousness, and continue to transition towards a more culturally relevant curriculum and pedagogy. Recruit for diversity and increase the diversity of the Smithtown School District staff. Recruiting for diversity is great, but again, nowhere in this document, nowhere in these minutes does it talk about recruiting for quality. We had a discussion, we talked about it with the airlines. One of the airlines says they want to hire more diverse pilots. I think you should just be hiring good pilots. It doesn't matter if they're black, white, brown, yellow, whatever. You need to be able to take off and land an airplane. That race has no issue there, right? This is the same thing as affirmative action. It's very similar to what we've been seeing at the colleges, but now it's impacting K through 12. All right. Nowhere, again, does it impact quality. This is Jennifer Bradshaw. She runs that, and she's in charge of a lot of the curriculum in Smithtown schools. This is a person that is on our radar. This is a person that gives us a lot of ammunition. So now I'm going to talk to you about somebody by the name of Elaine Gross. Elaine Gross runs a program called Erase Racism, which is wonderful. Great concept. Of course, we want to erase racism, right? We want to erase it. We want to eradicate it from society. That's great. Of course, we don't want anyone to be racist. With that being said, here's Erase Racism's goal. This is off of their own petition. That information is right here. Okay, Erase Racism. I support Erase Racism's call for New York State Homes and Community Renewal to enact a scoring system that helps to integrate our communities and open up opportunities for low-income residents. Folks, this is a program that the Obama administration started, that the Biden administration has restarted after Trump ended it, called Affirmatively Furthering Fair Housing. This is where you see low-income housing popping up in places all across the United States. Everyone thinks it's a wonderful thing because, oh my goodness, you're giving people the opportunity to live and housing, and that's great. What it's doing is it's moving folks, low-income housing, into these areas. All this is doing is basically vote trafficking. Okay, what happens is they can't change the way they can't win on the issues, so they have to win on, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Post link to what?
Yeah.
No, this is all foil. It's not online.
Yes.
Yeah. Affirmatively Furthering Fair Housing basically flips districts from red to blue. Of course, we want people to have access to affordable housing, right? I mean, of course, this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about this is a political scheme. This is Erase Racism. I talked about Jennifer Bradshaw, and her name appears right here on the petition. She signed this petition about Erase Racism, about affirmatively furthering fair housing, and she's in charge of educating the Smithtown School District. Okay, she's in charge of the curriculum in the Smithtown School District, and here's why we're taking action, and here's what we've got to do. May 18th, there is a Board of Education election. It's happening island-wide. May 18th, Board of Ed elections. In the Midtown School District, John Savaretti, Stacey Ann Murphy, and Karen Wontrobski-Ricciardi. These three are running. These are patriots that are running to be elected to the Smithtown Board of Education. What these folks will now have the opportunity to do, they will have oversight power over people like Jennifer Bradshaw, who was a clone, it seems, and a lackey for folks like Lester Young. They're going to have oversight power to make sure that education is being done to educate the kids, not gear them towards a lifetime of civic engagement and social justice activism. These folks are going to prioritize school in the schools, schooling for the students, education for the students,
and here's what's important. If you don't live in Smithtown, and you think, all right, so maybe these people don't affect me. We win this school board election, it will be a springboard to change your local school board. We will show that we can do it, and we're going to need your help to do that.
Absolutely. So here's the schedule. We got some events coming up, and this is going to be taking center stage. Now,
and look, I want to be very clear. I understand people got a lot going on, but we've heard 1,000 times. I'm sure you've said it to your friends. I want to do something, but I don't know what I'm able to do. I don't know how to get involved. I don't know what me as an individual can do. This is what you as an individual can do.
Absolutely.
We're going to need boots on the ground for the next 2 weeks because the rest of the people in Smithtown, frankly, probably have no idea this is going on.
Right. And here's the deal. Even if you don't have somebody in the district, 70% of your property taxes go to the schools, regardless, okay? 70% of your taxes go to the schools. When we talk, you have that common talking point that taxation is theft, right? It's not always theft. If the money is used properly, it's an investment. Taxes can be looked at as an investment if it's being used properly. But it's actually being used to pay people who talk about issues like this. Elaine Gross, one more time.
Tens of thousands of dollars in consulting fees.
Beyond, I mean,
money like you wouldn't believe.
Like you've never seen.
Like you've not. Tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars are going toward these organizations. And you know the people, you've seen them on TV, people like Ibram X. Kendi, Robin DiAngelo, these race hustlers.
So Elaine Gross is talking about if low-income housing and affirmatively, nice job, Kevin. It's affirmatively furthering fair housing, okay? So this here, we talked about this with the low-income housing and everything. This is Elaine Gross. Elaine Gross working with Jennifer Bradshaw into schools. Why are the schools intersecting with low-income housing? Why? It's because your students are being geared to be agents of social change. Remember, Lester Young's words, not mine. Long Island Library Resources Council annual conference 2020 was about diversity, equity, and inclusion. What a freaking surprise, right? At that, this diagram was being talked about. And I'm going to go through this with you real quick. Okay, I gotta go there. Okay, they were
basically
separated.
This diagram separates those who you would call privileged, the cisgendered, white, heterosexual, Christian male,
and oppressed,
and it pits them against the opposing groups.
And here's the divisions of race, gender, class and income, ability, sexual orientation, and religion. So think about this. Apparently, an oppressed group is a lower class and lower income group. They're oppressed. But the privileged and one of the privileged and benefited groups is white people. So just by looking at this document alone, you would assume that there are no lower class and low income white people. Now I know for a fact that that's not true. Okay, obviously you know, not every white person is rich, wealthy, and has disposable income. Not every white person is poor. But they're telling you that that doesn't exist. They're telling you that people of color are oppressed and white people are privileged. They're telling you that.
This is what they're teaching, not your teenagers,
now this
your
is
children.
This is Elaine Gross making. She commented and spoke about this issue at a conference having to do with Long Island's libraries. Folks, do you see her tentacles getting into every aspect of education and what that is going to do to your kids? They are defenseless against
and all this happened under the guise of COVID. Like Sean said before, never let a good crisis go to waste. While we were all sitting around worried about, oh, the kids aren't going to school and they're not learning online. They were changing the curriculum directly under our noses, and we didn't even see it happening.
Can't. Okay. Now here's the Midtown School District statement from today, where I told you they were probably a little scared with the damage control. I'm just going to point out one thing, and they're saying that a false narrative is that equity teams are dangerous in districts that have been captured. Okay, this is from Smithtown themselves. This is their statement they put out. Now here, do you remember what Lester Young said, those three big words, diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? That was the statewide directive, right? That was the Lester Young document. Work related to diversity, equity, and inclusion has been deemed a priority for virtually every major educational organization. Goes beyond Midtown, and they're bragging about it.
Right here, it talks about false claims that equity, diversity, and inclusion is a gateway to socialism or Marxism. For anyone who knows Jordan Peterson, for anyone who knows any of the social philosophers like Dinesh D'Souza, we've been speaking about this for years, and it has finally come around to our neighborhoods.
And here we have and remember, we'll just go on a brief refresher. What is diversity, equity, and inclusion? It was all of those things, empowering students as agents of social change, cultivation of critical thinking, ensuring coherent opportunities for students to actively participate in experiences that prepare them for a lifetime of civic engagement and social justice activism. Now, why is that a problem? And how does this, oh, by the way, on this there, Jennifer Bradshaw, okay?
Yep.
She's on the dot. All right, now I'm going to cite a study. I want to give you—
Now, this document, as you can see, is signed by the entire Board of Education.
Of Midtown School District.
The entire Board of Education.
All right, now, there's a study I want to cite. All right, this is from, this was online. I could post this link. The Program for International Student Assessment tests 15-year-old students around the world and is administered by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So that's the study. That's where this came from. In 2018, when the test was administered, the United States placed 11th out of 79 countries in science. It did worse in math, ranking 30th, okay? The U.S. scored a score of 478 in math, which is below the average of 489. That's well below the scores of the top 5, all of which were Asian nations. Doesn't matter if they're Asian nations, but it's worth noting. Singapore, 569, Macau, 555, Hong Kong, 551, Taiwan, 531, and Japan at 527. Your kids, instead of being geared to compete with countries that are succeeding in industries like, succeeding in fields like math and science, instead of them being geared towards that, they're being geared to what? Diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is what? Social justice activism and civic engagement. So you're sending your kids to school to get prepared to be able to compete on a global stage, and they're not being taught the information that's going to be helping them compete with students from these other countries. I'm going to take it like this. Here's the analogy that I'm going to make, because it's NFL draft night and the Jets just drafted Zach Wilson. Okay? If you were running a football team, baseball team, basketball team, I want you to think of this. You have two teams, okay? Team A is sitting in the locker room, and they're learning about how to be kind to one another, how to respect one another, how to love one another, which is all great. But for not 1 minute are they spending any time in the weight room, any time on the field, any time practicing the sport that they're supposed to compete in. Okay? Oh, we're okay.
Okay.
Yeah. These distractions. You see what I'm saying? Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
When you're talking about a football team that's not practicing how to play football, now you have another team. Okay? Team 2. Team 2's in the weight room. Team 2's on the field. They're practicing 5 days a week. They're training. They're training for what they're supposed to be competing in, right? Now, if Team A, who hasn't been training and practicing the sport, meets Team B on the field, what do you think is going to happen? Team B is going to smoke them. And that is what is happening to the United States on the world stage. Our students, because of programs like this that are focused on diversity, equity, inclusion, social justice activism, being agents of social change, they're being taught, they're being geared to compete in a field that's not going to make them successful in life. They're not going to be able to compete with students out of Singapore or India. When you look at the breakdown in this country, when you look at what racial groups and what groups are successful in this country, white people are in the middle of the list. Asian Americans, Chinese Americans,
and
Indian
there's a
Americans.
difference because they believe it's a zero-sum game. They think that if you bring down whites, that means that you will bring up all the other ones, and that's not how it works. You're supposed to, what is it? A rising tide lifts all boats. They're actively bringing down this, and we saw Bill de Blasio do this in New York City. For anyone who's from New York City, you know Stuyvesant, Brooklyn Tech, Bronx School of Science, schools for geniuses. He actively removed genius students to bring in kids from low-income neighborhoods in order to create equity. That doesn't help anybody.
These are, so when you think about where the world is going, right? Let's think about the types of jobs. Manufacturing jobs are a little difficult now, right? You're not on an assembly line actually hammering things, these trades. When you look at science, when you look at math, the United States trails behind a lot of these countries globally. So how does this tie into what we stand for? Obviously, I love, I think kids are the future. They are absolutely, they're innocent. They're defenseless against this. And when you come after children, it pisses me off. You're a predator. Predator.
Education is supposed to teach kids how to think, not what to think.
Exactly.
And right now, because as soon as you move from how to think to what to think, you're not an educator anymore. It's indoctrination.
So when you come after the kids, I'm not happy. And obviously, as a conservative, and everybody here is conservative, we understand how seriously we take what they're doing to the kids in the schools.
To use Sean's analogy from before about the football teams, if you had one team that was doing that, what would you do? The first thing you do is you get rid of the coach.
Right.
And that's where all of you come in over the next 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
We need everyone to come out and help us canvass and petition this school board.
So here's how this feeds to the larger.
I just ate that sentence.
Here's how this feeds into our larger agenda, right? Oh, a lot of people are probably wondering, what does this have to do with Donald Trump? What does this have to do with MAGA? What does this have to do with being conservative? At the same time, we were talking about the U.S. education, the effect that the U.S. education lack of competitiveness has had on us on the global stage. This is your kids coming first is one and the same with putting America first. Okay? If you're not teaching, if your children are not being taught how to compete with those other countries in those essential fields, our country is going to suffer as a result of that, because we're going to be having children graduating high school with no skills. They're not going to be able to get these jobs. They're just going to be social justice warriors taking a knee on the side of the street saying justice for George Floyd. They're not going to make $1. Okay? This is a huge problem, and this is an America First issue, and I want you to understand, if you don't have kids in the district, you're still paying for this. You're still paying to put America last. You're still paying to put these kids last. You're still paying to have these kids programmed, brainwashed, and geared towards doing things that are not going to put them in a position to compete on a global stage. So this is about not just Smithtown, but this is an America First issue. Now we have several dates coming up that I want you to take note of. We're going to be pushing it. We're going to be promoting it. May 3rd is the first date.
May 3rd at 3 o'clock. We need all of you to come down to Patio Pizza in St. James. We're going to be handing out election district cards. Couple blocks. Everybody takes a block, and you knock on doors. Let people know what's going on. That there's a board of election race coming up in 2 weeks.
Tuesday, May 18th.
We need, to use Sean's analogy, we need to get rid of the coach. It's these people on the boards of elections. All politics is local. All right. We've been programmed to think that what happens in Washington affects us. No, it's the guy down the street. It's the Board of Elections. And that's what the Tea Party did in 2010.
Correct.
They moved in and they took over local communities. We need to do that as well. We need to come out and show everyone that we will not allow our children to be indoctrinated. We will not allow our kids to be poisoned and not be prepared in the same way as the rest of the world. And we need each and every one of you to come out. May 3rd, 3 o'clock, Patio Pizza. Come on down. We need your help. We're going to take over the entire town of Smithtown.
Now, this is not just May 3rd. We're going to be doing the same type of thing again on May 7th. Very important.
May 7th, 3 o'clock, Patio Pizza.
Okay, same thing. Now, on May 5th, El Cinco de Mayo, okay, Patio Pizza again. And by the way, shout out to Patio Pizza, because Guy Caligiuri, the owner, is one of the most patriotic, I mean, when you talk about a good person, there he is.
If you guys don't know Guy, all of this started because he put up a flag and his neighbor's an asshole.
Yeah.
That's how all this started.
The
rallies, everything going on. Guy Caligiuri, he's an awesome dude.
He's
been a rock. He lost his liquor license.
Yep. He is as instrumental in all of this as anyone. And he's also just an amazing individual. Just outside politics aside, a genuinely awesome person.
The 3 candidates we spoke of earlier on Cinco de Mayo.
They're going to be
on May 5th. We'll be at Patio Pizza. You can come down, talk to them. You can see the people that we're working with to move Smithtown in a different direction. And like I said earlier, if you're not from Smithtown,
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, because if we do this, we will show people, we will show other boards of elections that they better shape up or they're going to ship out.
Right.
Because we are done with this crap. We are done with it. You hear it on every news show. This is your opportunity. This is your opportunity to change the neighborhood that you live in.
And when people are going to come at you and say, well, what are you against diversity, equity, and inclusion? Just do yourself a favor. If they're going to ask you that, just ask them to define that for you, because there is no definition, and nowhere in there. You want to prioritize diversity, equity, and inclusion in education, that's fine. It can't come at the expense of quality and excellence in education.
Because when they say diversity, they're never talking about diversity of thought.
No.
I guarantee you none of these teachers voted for Donald Trump. I guarantee you none of these teachers are pro-life. I guarantee you none of them are against the teachers' unions.
Right. Okay.
I guarantee you. And if they are, they've been cowered into silence to shut
folks,
up.
And by the way, also worth noting that the Suffolk PBA is behind these candidates. The Suffolk PBA police, they're behind this, okay? There's a gentleman by the name of Mark Jackett. He's involved in the Smithtown School District, is a big defund the police guy, okay? He's talking about not putting police in or around schools, actively making those schools unsafe, okay? So we need folks like Savaretti and Murphy and Ricciardi on the Board of Education so that we can have oversight there and hold these people accountable to keep your kids safe, not just physically safe too, but keep their minds safe, safeguard their minds from this manipulation and indoctrination.
I mean, not for nothing. If you're living in Smithtown, you're paying enough in property taxes. You should be getting the best education in the world.
70% of your property taxes go to the schools. 70%. Is that my question to you? Is that where you want your money going? And if that's not where you want your money going, well, here's how we change that. But we have, this is it. This is the call to action. Okay, May 15th. Once again, that's a Saturday. I know there's an event at the Wantaw train station. Listen, I know that it's happening. Okay, we are also going to be, not to overshadow anything, but this is our goal here.
We have 2 weeks to get this done.
Yep. Okay. We've got an election coming up. But May 15th, we're going to be walking the district again. Once again, getting information out, literature, and information about the election. That's on May 15th, given the time.
On May 15th, we're going to be there all day.
All day, okay, all day.
We're going to be there all day.
Meeting at Patio Pizza.
Yeah, we're meeting at Patio Pizza. Anytime you can come down throughout the day. If you want to give an hour, walk a district, knock on 10, 15 doors. You believe me, even the smallest amount you can do is more than most people are doing.
Where is it?
Where's it?
Oh, I got it. I'm sorry. Okay. Finally, this is all going to culminate. It's all going to culminate in what we do best. And you know what we do best, what it is we do best. We rally. So May 16th, Sunday, May 16th. Time is still being decided upon.
The event will go out like it normally does.
And this is a tentative location. But we will be rallying at the Smithtown School District Administration Building. The 3 candidates will be there. They will be speaking, and we will be getting everybody energized and ready to go vote on Tuesday, May 18th. Rally, May 16th. That is a Sunday, Smithtown School District Administration Building. There's no caravan. It's just go there, rally. This is it. This is we're getting the energy up.
We need to let the community. We need to spark a little, put a fire under the ass of this community, because frankly, this isn't even a Republican thing. This is a moderate thing.
Correct.
This is what used to be a liberal thing.
Correct.
They are being taken over by the radicals. And this isn't the first time you've seen this. You've seen the cowardice Democrats in Congress fall to the ways of AOC and Ilhan Omar because they don't have any spines.
So
we need to stand up and let them know that we will no longer be silent.
And folks, when we're talking about a Board of Education election, those elections are win and turnout only, right? So when I say whether you have or don't have children in the district, you can still vote in these elections. It is still your taxpayer dollars that are going towards programs that we just talked about. So if you're listening and you're not from Smithtown and you say, well, I don't need to worry about it too much. No. You're still funding this you can still get out and vote against this and put these folks on the board, because what that will do is that will, again, put your taxpayer money in the right direction, and the kids.
You'll be voting in your local school district.
Correct. So it's still important. This is an America First issue. So this is not just about parents in the district.
I mean, look, as much as we hate people like Joe Biden isn't anywhere near your kids. These people that you're voting
thank
for.
God.
These people, thank God.
I sniff them from the table.
These people that you're voting for directly teach your children. They have interactions with them on a daily basis. They control which textbooks they read. They control how the curriculum is set up.
So
as much as I hate Joe Biden, honestly, he's got real no impact on my life. But guess what? My local school board has more impact than any president will ever have.
Okay, so now that'll be on the 16th. That's a rally at the Midtown School District Administration Building, and that's a tentative location. We're just going to make sure we can make that work logistically. But one way or the other, that is rally day. May 16th is our next rally day, okay? And up until then, we're going to be walking and ginning up enthusiasm, promoting the rally, promoting the candidates, promoting the rally. This is all about one thing and one thing only: energy, enthusiasm, and turnout. That is how we're going to win these elections. May 17th, we're going to hit the district one more time. May 17th, we're going to hit the district one more time. Once again, advertising, promoting, and getting energy up for the candidates. May 18th is election.
And guys, this is the springboard. We take this election, then we take the next election, and we're right into Zeldin.
And folks,
once we get Zeldin, we're right into 24. This is momentum.
This is one step. This Smithtown stuff goes beyond this school board election. This is not the ultimate goal. This is a step. This is a step to really fix the school district. There is more information here that I'm not going to talk about it tonight. But all of this is just a fraction of what this group has uncovered, okay? These notes and all this insanity that I have in this notebook, we haven't even scratched the surface of what we're actually going to uncover and show the world with what's going on in the district in terms of money going from point A to point B, names that we've heard of that are involved, different districts that are tied to one another. But this is step one in a much, much, much larger story. I don't mean to be dramatic and hyperbolic, but this has the ability to literally make and shape history here on Long Island. I'm not joking. This will be the springboard to what we're doing next. And look, I read the comments that a lot of the haters say, that a lot of people that talk a lot of shit about us say, you know, what are you guys even doing? You're just causing traffic. Now we have an opportunity to make actual change in your own neighborhoods. So if anybody wants to get out and really wants to do it, 3 o'clock on the 3rd, Patio Pizza. We'll see you there. Yep. Couple things just coming up. Saturday, May 1st, there is a rally going on in Patchogue on Main Street. My friend George Pritchard and Donna Ingrazia, I think she got in touch with me. I'm sorry, Donna. I saw your calls. I will be reaching out to you. I'm so sorry. I've been really busy. But she's putting together a rally out in Patchogue. It's a flag rally. Wait, what's May 1st? It's a rally.
It's also Captain DeFlorable's birthday.
Oh, do they really know that?
Oh!
Apparently every day is my birthday now.
No!
Okay, so
30. You are officially middle-aged.
Yes,
oh, I love it.
You old.
Young at heart. Don't say it. Young at heart. So Saturday, May 1st. I still think this noise is funny. Nah. So Saturday, May 1st, they'll be doing it Patchogue Main Street by Capital One. It's a flag rally. My friend George Pritchard is also involved with getting the word out there. He's the one who put together the 7-Eleven rallies at Shirley in election season. Unbelievable, dude. So much energy. Love the guy. Saturday, May 1st, Donna also put that together. 1 to 3 p.m. There is a link. I will post it in our group. You guys can go there if you would like.
And
Also,
guys,
Saturday Gangster Building too.
We are going to put up all this information in the group. Please share this out because we need to get people informed. We need for them to know what's happening in their own communities. And the fact is, if it wasn't for the hard work of these women at Smithtown, we would have no idea this was happening. So you guys, honestly, what does O'Keefe say? Distribution by proxy.
He also says, retracto. No. Okay.
Yeah. Guys.
Yeah. Distribution by proxy.
Share this video out. Share the flyer we're going to be putting up out. This way, everyone knows that something's going on if they want to get involved. We're going to need all your help.
This is a all hands on deck. This is a joke time. QT time is over. It's fight time now, politically. Okay, no violence. And this is what we are supposed to be doing, right? We've been asking for something to do, something to fight for. We're fighting for the kids. We're fighting for America first. And it's really important. We've all seen, you all remember Montauk. You all remember Greenport. You all remember New York City. You remember Eisenhower. You remember all these rallies that we did where we put people on the road. You remember Halloween in West Babylon, which is a lot bigger than I even think it is. But you remember how many of us there are out there. We're out there, okay? And it's great to rally, and it's great to have numbers, and it's really going to be great to put those numbers and turn them into results. This is our time. This is our calling. This is what we are taking action to do. We're fighting for the kids. We're fighting for the country. We're fighting for you.
When we win this, guys, right now it's 18 months until the governor election. This is step one in the momentum that will build and build and build to get rid of Andrew Cuomo.
By the way, and Smithtown is in Lee Zeldin's district, so and it's a very, very, it's a good area in terms of how the area tends to vote. We have the numbers. We just have to flex. We just have to use them. All right, so that's it. We got all that. Please do us a favor. This is very, very important. Please do us a favor. What we're going to be doing, we're going to be doing a lot of work with the YouTube channel to try and grow it. So please go on to youtube.com/Long Island Loud Majority. Okay, youtube.com/Long Island Loud Majority, and hit the subscribe button, turn the notifications on, and please, please, please share the channel.
Smash that like button.
Nobody is going to share it for us. YouTube is certainly going to hold us down. Facebook, we know how they operate. Please share the channel. Let's beat the algorithms and the shadow bans together. The only way to do that is organically. It's like word of mouth. Go in there, copy the link, drop it everywhere. Spam. Do what you've got to do. Get the word out because it's important. Because if we don't, then the loud majority is just going to get silenced like it has been in the past. But we're never going to get held down, and that's the point. Because of all of you, you refuse to be held down, and I appreciate that.
The bottom line is we're not going anywhere. And now we have 2 weeks to get this done. And we can do it. Because like Sean said, Board of Elections are always about turnout. And we're going to push that turnout.
Yeah, Board of Ed elections are always turnout based. If we show up with more people. I mean, it's obviously that's how every election works. But, this is all about turnout. Nobody's excited to go vote for the schmucks that are on the board now. We're going to put these 3 on. We're going to wind up taking back that Board of Education. If you've got candidates in your local board that you're behind and you all want to, get your guys and gals in your district. You're in Lindenhurst and you have, a Board of Education election coming up May 8th, and there are candidates that you want. By all means, get out there, get active, and get vocal. Bring them to the rallies. Bring them, do what you've got to do. This has the opportunity to flip one of the 4th largest school district in Long Island. They've got 2 high schools. This has the opportunity to have such long-lasting effects, not just in here in New York, but we also know that there's a group that's working, doing the exact same thing out in the wonderful state of Arizona. So this is happening. This is a national thing that's going to happen. We're going to be able to, and this is obviously going to help our country in the long run, America first education, not America last education. This is for the kids. This is for the country. This is for the future. And that's what we're out there to preserve, protect, and defend. So let's all do that. OfficialLoudMajority.com. Sign up for the newsletter. YouTube.com/Long Island Loud Majority. Hit the subscribe and hit that notification button. Share the link. Share the videos. Share the events. Share. Sharing is caring. We care about you. I love you. Thank you for the support. Thanks for tuning in. It's been almost an hour. A lot of information. Feel free to go back and watch it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You guys have a great rest of your night.
Stay loud.
And you stay loud.
Well, there you go.
The mouse is dead. Was you just trying to do a touchscreen?
Yeah. And we're still live. Because
I know. I'm sorry. My computer got soaked.
Wait, hold on.
Close the screen.
Closing the screen is not going to do anything.
Close the screen.
Hi, guys. So we're going to talk about this for a little bit, okay? I'm sorry.
It'll be 30 in 2 days.
It's not going to be 30.
That's not going to wrap.
It's not happening. Wow. I'm so mad that this is dead. Aw.
It's
I think my computer is dead.
No, it isn't.
Well, no, we have the USB now. Works on the Mac.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, hit end screen.